So there is case computer and case computers. There's expensive, there's a cheap, there is good looking, the compact, the RGB, and then there is Thermaltake. Thermaltake is a bit of the crazy eccentric uncle of the computer case industry. Always comes up with the weirdest, strangest design. You never really know what it's going to come up with next. And you may very well hate it or love it, but it's not, it will have an impact on you. And a year ago on this very channel, I was toying with what I thought was the most crazy, insane computer case out there. Yeah, not gonna work, not gonna work. Abort. Alright, so you get the point. The Super Tower 900 from Thermaltake, and you know, up to this very day, I thought it would be the weirdest thing I could possibly see until this. Today we are reviewing the level 20 from Thermaltake, and I mean, look at this thing, 32 kilogram empty. So, a little bit of context here. This is an anniversary model, meaning that there was a level 10 for the 10th anniversary of Thermaltake. This is a level 20 for the 20th anniversary of Thermaltake. And the way I see it, it's a bit of a fashion statement, a bit of a canvas, a very expensive big canvas for the most eccentric modders out there, as well as the craziest enthusiasts. Something will give them a framework to really go to the next level. Alright, so we are dealing with an aluminum dressed super tower weighing no less than 32 kilogram empty, measuring 732 millimeter deep, 280 millimeter wide for 688 millimeter height. It is a mastodon. It has 3 separated chambers, all guarded by 3 beautifully hinged 4mm thick tempered glasses. Special mention to the doors and panels locking mechanism, which are particularly precise and secured and solid, and I love it. Now, these 3 chambers have very nicely padded holes, allowing an easy tubing and cabling communication between each other. Now, the first chamber will accommodate about any motherboard you can throw at it in any shape and form, spanning from the mini ATX to the largest e-atx motherboard available. The TT20 comes with 3 RGB 120mm high pressure fans pre-installed for efficient airflow, 2 push configuration here and 1 pull exhaust right there. We have 2 3.5 hard disk drives mounting brackets right here. Note the presence of a GPU vertical mount plate right here, which makes sense since the Thermaltake 20 comes with a rather premium 3rd generation PCI-E razor, and which will allow us to show off this GPU water blocks, which stays hidden way too often. Also, I absolutely enjoy the very deep and wide back cable openings, which will make your assembling experience an absolute breeze. On its right, we have what I like to call a tower chamber, which can either be used for a ridiculously high amount of hard disk drive, 6 on this metallic column alone, or, and most likely, we can use it to accommodate our water pump reservoir and radiators, which you will need for a more probable custom water cooling configuration. Alright, so special note here, the motherboard chamber as well as the column chamber shares the very same flooring, allowing yet another easy cabling and tubing between the two. On top of it all, the 3rd chamber is here to accommodate our power supply unit either in a vertical or horizontal position, just in case you'd want to show off its RGB fans, which by the way is only produced by Thermaltake as well, so somewhat of a very cool complementing, cross-cutting, right. Don't know where I'm going with that. Alright, moving on, we have several magnet filters which strongly and for once precisely adhere to the embossed designated areas, and that will make our maintenance so much more simple on this otherwise impressive and imposing oversized tower. All of our aluminum panels have been mounted on support bridges, which allow them to sit at about 30 degrees opening without falling all around, which is a major plus, knowing how thick and heavy they really are. And talking of which, the quality of the brush and texture, I mean, they really are good. I've been used to a lot of, sanded, blasted, brushed aluminum for the past 3 years on the different cases I've done, but I have to really give it a special mention here because not only is it really thick aluminum, very nicely satisfying thick aluminum, but it looks absolutely great in any kind of light condition. It doesn't really reflect, it just drives the light all along its edges, and it doesn't really take so much of your finger oil. I could not detect so many fingerprints, so again, for the cleaning, a plus, which is really a plus, especially given the size of that thing. But I am going to make a small critique here. On the column chamber back aluminum panel, I have spotted a little level discrepancy between the panel itself and the chassis. Now, nothing too serious, and most importantly, nothing too visible since it's on the back of the case, but something that Thermaltake should definitely take a look at, or at least for the next iteration at its Thermaltake level 30. In 10 years. Now, on the back of our motherboard chamber, we have 3 more 2.5 solid-state drive vertical mounts, which brings the total hard disk drive support of this case to an insane, an incredible, an over-numbered, numerous 11 hard drives. Add to it the 3 or 4 additional M.2 solid-state drives that your motherboard will probably support, and you'll have plenty of space to carry all those very nice nature documentaries you so very much care about. Wink, wink. Moving on, we do have a Thermaltake hub, which will link fans or strips. You will then be able to tweak their sync effect through the TT RGB Plus software. And maybe this is the right time to mention that in addition of the 3 addressable RGB fans we saw earlier, we also have 2 additional addressable RGB strips hidden in between sections of the case, transforming our case in this illuminated tech monument. On the I/O back of our case, we have 8 horizontal brackets, which will allow up to an insane 4 GPU configuration, as well as 2 vertical brackets for a single vertical mounted GPU. So yes, you could potentially place up to 4 video cards on this. I think I said monster 25 times, but yes, monster of a case. On the power supply unit chambers, here are the plates which I mentioned earlier and which will allow you to switch your PSU position from vertical to horizontal. Now, I/O-wise, we have 4 third generation 5 gigabit USB plugs, 1 10 gigabit Type-C, and additionally we do have the usual audio plugs, power and reset button, and our hard disk drive's LED. But there I will allow myself another small critique. I have used or tried at least 3 or 4 different motherboard on this case of different make. Gigabyte, Asus, ASRock, you name it. And all of them were ATX or e-atx configuration. And I did run into a bit of a problem trying to connect the 3rd generation chassis cable to the motherboard itself, simply because one of them was not long enough to go all the way around the motherboard. So you're probably gonna need a cable extension, because I really don't see how you're gonna go around it if you're gonna use at least an ATX motherboard. So again, something, not a deal breaker, but something Thermaltake has to note. Custom water cooling wise. Well, this is what the Thermaltake level 20 was made for. It can accommodate up to 3 simultaneous radiators, ranging from 120 to 140 mm on the exhaust grill, a 280 to 260 mm long radiator right in front of our motherboard, and finally a massive 420 to 480 mm long radiator on the column chamber. In effect, enthusiasts out there will be able to let their imagination run wild in building a single or dual custom water configuration, custom water cooling configuration. You get exactly what I meant. I am sure they will have a lot of fun. Now, in conclusion, this case, the Thermaltake level 20, will run you anywhere between, and depending of the markets and resellers, between $800 all the way to $1,000 USD before taxes. And obviously this is, if not one of the most expensive cases on the market. And again, obviously not for everyone. This is an anniversary edition, meaning that it was not designed with ease of build in mind. If you are a first-time builder, I would absolutely go somewhere else. First, this is not in your budget, and this is not something you're going to be able to handle easily. It's like custom water cooling. If you don't know what you're doing, then don't try it. It was made and designed to wow, no matter the configuration. And wowed, I absolutely am. I'll start with the overall chamber aesthetic, calling back on a more vintage 60s feel, which I absolutely adore. I am particularly in love with the sanded brushed aluminum and the overall robustness feel. I mean, this thing is heavy duty. It doesn't weigh 32 kilogram empty for nothing. The three 4mm tempered glass are absolutely gorgeous, but what really took the cherry to the moon, whatever that means, is the hinges, which is usually a very tricky process or add-on on any case. But here Thermaltake really nailed it, and specifically with those very heavy glasses, they feel precise, smooth and sturdy. So big major engineering kudos to Thermaltake for this. Now, I did have a couple of critics, namely on the leveling of one of the back panels with the chassis and the length of the 3rd generation USB cable. And given the complexity of this case, those are very minor remarks because they're easy to fix by the team or by yourself. And you know, to really resume it all, the Thermaltake Level 20 is as much as an exotic case as a Ferrari is an exotic car. And once you understand the parallel, then you understand that this is made for $5,000 builds minimum. I don't think much lower. And it's an enthusiast dream, but a first-time builder nightmare. I think there's no fear in saying that. But I've been making custom water cooling system for quite some time, and I don't think I ever enjoyed it as much, or at least the final result as much, as with the Thermaltake 20. So yeah, if you are every bit as insane as I am, this is where you want to be. Anything lower, there is so much more Thermaltake can offer to you. Right, I think that's it.